Hi guys, I'm Amy. I'm the evening manager at One-to-One Fitness in Tyson's Corner, and I'm going to take you through a series of exercises designed by the Egoscue method and a little yoga. So I'm going to make a combination of those exercises to help with your overall alignment. So what I'd like you to do, so take off your shoes, and we're going to see how you feel this morning or this evening whenever you're doing this exercise. So go ahead and close your eyes, and I want you to just march in place. So you're just going to march in place, and then let your feet just land where they naturally want to land. Now I want you to now close your eyes again and think about, where is your weight? Is it in the back of your feet? Is it in the front of your feet? Is it on the sides? Just kind of take a mental note of how your body is feeling today. So as we go through the exercises, you might notice a change in that. You might notice that your weight is distributed a little bit more evenly, or you still feel a little imbalanced. So take note of that. I'll give you chances to kind of take a look at that and feel it. Close your eyes, go inside, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take you through your first exercise, Doug's personal favorite, static back. Okay guys, now we are in static back, and so I'd like you to find a place where you can prop your legs up over at 90-degree angles at your knees. Ideally an ottoman or a chair or something very similar, even a couch might work. So go ahead and lie on your back, and I'll give you a little time to get there, and I'll start my timer, and we're going to go for 5 minutes. Now I want you to just relax, and I just want you to relax your abdominals, relax your shoulders, and I want you to take note of what's going on in your lower back. Is it arched a little bit? Is it flat on the ground? So just kind of feel how it is. The main thing is, you never want to force yourself into any of these positions. You want to listen to where your body naturally wants to go. So a lot of the exercises that we're going to use are actually going to use gravity to pull you into ideal posture. So as we're there, or as we're in this position, your lower back will probably start to flatten if it hasn't already. Mine generally takes about 5 minutes. And so just try to breathe into it and just try to relax. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Egoscue method while we're here, because now we're just letting gravity do its job. But ideally, as a posture alignment specialist, when I look at someone's posture, I'm looking at how their body is aligned with each other. So basically, I'm looking at your ankles, your knees, your hips, your shoulders, your head position. How do the sides compare? Is one hip rotated forward? Is one higher than the other? So doing these exercises, we take time to stay in these poses and positions to help us release into an ideal position. No one's got perfect posture. None of us trainers, we all have compensations, but the more neutral everything is in alignment with each other, the better generally you will feel. A lot of times if you have pain in your back or your knees or your ankles, anywhere, that's usually a symptom and not always the problem. So sometimes we have to look at other joints. So that's what we're doing today, is using gravity to realign you. So while we're here, just close your eyes and just relax into the stretch. And so while I'm lying here, I feel how it's opening up my chest. My lower back is starting to flatten a little bit, but this is something that you can't rush. You just have to let time work on our side. So we've got about 2.5 more minutes here. So just close your eyes and breathe. So breathe in, let your stomach expand. Let your lower back expand, and exhale and just let everything go. We all have so much on our minds right now, and we just need to relax and breathe. So everything is just relaxed, including my feet, my hands, my shoulders, lower back. In a lot of these exercises, there's a lot of pressure, that we put on ourselves trying to get it just right. Today, what I'd like you to do is just let your body go where it wants to go. And I'm going to guide you to help you get there. I don't know about you guys, but my back is really starting to flatten out. It feels good. So we've got about another minute and a half. So what I'd like you to do is breathe in for a count of 4. Hold your breath just for a second. Exhale for a count of 4. Hold your breath. I'm going to guide you through it. So breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale. 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. Exhale this time for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And just lie there. And my back's flattened out quite a bit. So that's perfectly 5 minutes. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do an exercise while we're here to get your shoulder blades working a little bit while we're in this position. So we're going to take your arms out to the side. Elbows ideally are at the same height as your shoulders. Make a slight fist, but not gripping real hard. And so you're going to breathe in. Actually, as you exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Breathe in, exhale. And then so you're just going to keep doing that back and forth. We're not trying to squeeze your elbows through the ground, just nice and gentle, wrapping your shoulder blades around a pencil. So keeping your abdominals relaxed. Now, when I was studying out in California quite a few years ago, I wanted to do everything hardcore. I wanted to go really hard and squeeze as hard as I could, but then I found myself hurting. So if you feel that way, you're probably going too hard. Just back off a little bit and listen to how your body feels. Okay, we're going to do 5 more. Okay, now, one more thing while we're here. You're going to take your hands up over your chest, fold your hands, straighten your elbows without locking them out. Okay, so they're relatively straight, but if you see my elbows, they'll hyperextend. You don't want to do that. So basically straight, palms are together, and let's reach back over your head and then come back up. Now you'll notice my hands didn't go and touch the ground because my shoulders aren't ready to go there yet. So you're only going to go back far enough that where your elbows can stay straight. And the reason we do that is because that makes it a true movement through your shoulder blades. Okay, so if I'm going to show you a wrong one. If I go like that, yes, I touch the ground, but then my shoulder blades don't have to move. So a lot of us are sitting at desks a lot of the day. Our shoulder blades don't move, and we don't want to lose that function. So while we are in a good position in static back, we're engaging the shoulder blades, getting them to move. You'll probably feel a lengthening down your spine. So it's getting all the musculature up and down your spine. And I feel a little bit differently between the shoulder blades. Good, and this is another one. You want to make sure that you don't pop your chest. Like in the one before, it's easy to pop your chest, so you go back and arch your back. So let your back just stay neutral and make it a true movement through your shoulder blades. Let's do 2 more. Last one, inhale, exhale, and bring it up. Okay, so now we're gonna move away from our prop and go ahead and lie on your back. This is one that you guys have probably seen a lot during during class. These are called knee drops. So we're gonna go a little bit wider with your feet than your hips. Okay, arms are not quite up shoulder height, just down a little bit. And we're gonna go side to side. Okay, so you let your body go where it wants to go without letting your shoulders come up. So if you find that yourself kind of pops up like that, then you're going too far. So just let your body just go where it wants to go without forcing anything. Now it's up to you what you want to do with your head position. I personally like to keep my eyes forward. You can go opposite if you want to. Just depends on your personal body. So basically what we're doing now is preparing the body to rotate. So we'll do about 5 more on each side. Just letting your abdominals relax. I mean, they're going to have to work a little bit, but don't force them to. You'll probably feel a stretch across the front of your legs, feel the femurs moving in your hips. Okay, last one of each. Good. Okay, so now, I'm going to adjust my mat just a little bit. We're going to do a fetal twist, or sometimes known as upper spinal floor twist. So actually, I'll show you from this way first. You can see what I'm doing with my hands. So we're going to be 90-degree angles at your knees. And I'm going to take my left hand and I'm going to feel my knees, make sure that they're even with each other. So I'm going to take my left hand, stack my shoulders, take my right arm up, and rotate to the side. Okay, so we're going to hold this for a minute. I'm going to get my timer started. And once again, it's not a competition. I want you to breathe in. Exhale. Some of your hands will end up touching the ground, some of them won't. And that's okay, either way is fine. If you want to pause the video and stay a little longer after a minute, you can do that to see if you can get a little bit further down. But it's more about using gravity to help open up your chest, open up your abdominal region, all the musculature around your ribs, while keeping your hips stacked. So let's breathe in and exhale. And you'll probably notice that your upper body has dropped just a little bit. It's pretty amazing how that happens. So there's my timer. We're going to turn over. So same thing, knees are stacked, shoulders are stacked, feet are stacked. I'm going to take my right hand and then I'm going to get my timer started and then we'll open up. And if you're lucky, you might get a little pop like I did. As long as it didn't hurt. So breathe in, let your rib cage expand. Exhale, let it go. Again, breathe in. Exhale. Breathe in, I want this part of your back to move. Exhale. And you'll notice that I'm turning my head towards my hand. So I'm never forcing it, I'm just letting it go where it wants to go naturally. So you see how my hand moves every time I exhale. Just letting gravity do its work. So there was our minute. Okay, so we're back on our backs. We're gonna do a hip crossover stretch. Now, we're gonna cross your right ankle over your left knee, and we're gonna drop your foot down to the side. Arms are out, palms down, and you're gonna turn your head over to the right. Just so you guys can hear me okay, I'm gonna keep my eyes up rather than turning my head to the right. So you wanna keep your shoulder blades engaged, so pull them together. So active arms, and then press your right knee away from you. So you'll probably feel that stretch along your side and into your IT band area. Sometimes you'll feel a little bit in your chest. I feel a little bit in my ribs. So same thing, just breathing in and exhale into the stretch. So we're holding this for 1 minute. Keeping your shoulder blades active, fingers spread wide. And now we'll bring it up. Okay, I just want to give you one little tip here. So when you start, your feet should be hip width apart. So from this angle, it's about like that. Okay, so because I see this a lot in the gym, we're going to cross your left ankle over. A lot of people, what they do is they tend to kind of lift their foot and then go down. It's a different stretch. So you want to keep your right foot lined up with your hip bone, and then you're going to drop down to the side. And then I'll get my timer started so we're even on both sides. Now you're turning your head over towards the left, and I'm not forcing it. This is where my head wants to go. My neck tends to be pretty tight, so I don't ever force it where it doesn't want to go. So press your left knee away, and that'll activate the muscles in here. It'll stretch in here, and I feel a stretch in that area as well. So breathe in, let your stomach expand, and exhale. And just keep doing that. Making sure you're pressing out on that left leg still. Now, if your foot doesn't easily go down to the ground, you can always bring the ground up just a little bit. Like if you needed to elevate it with a pillow or a folded up towel or something like that. So just on that note, I'm going to show you a demonstration here. So say your body only lets you go here. You can prop something underneath your leg and your foot. Okay, so now we're going to do cats and dogs. So you're going to be on your hands and knees. So your hands are going to be directly underneath your shoulders, knees directly underneath your hips. Now tilt your tailbone up, pull your shoulder blades together, bring your head up. Now tuck your tailbone and round your spine. So inhale, pull your shoulder blades together. Exhale, round your spine. And just kind of go at your own pace. So it depends on you, what you want to do with your feet. I personally like the tops of my feet down. Some people like them up. That's going to engage your hip flexors a little bit more. So to me, this is a little bit more relaxing for my particular body. So on this one too, it's a common thing to see people bend their elbows when they do this. And what that does, it goes back to the pullover exercises I was talking about. It takes away from what the shoulder blades are doing. So you want your elbows relatively straight without locking them out. So your shoulder blades have to move. So just think about that as we do a couple more. Okay, so next we're going to go into a downward facing dog. For those who have shoulder issues, I'm going to show you a different variation for this. So I'm going to get you started in a downward dog, and then I'm going to show you a counter stretch. So for a downward dog, we're going to tuck your toes under, tilt your tailbone up towards the ceiling or the sky, then you lift up and press back. So ideally, your feet are a little wider than hip width apart. You're placing weight. Your hands are spread apart like this. Place weight in the triad of your hand. So it's right here in that soft spot. So that's where you're pressing here. A lot of people dump into their wrist, but you want your whole hand working here. So we're going to bend your knees slightly, tilt your tailbone up, and then straighten your legs. For those who feel comfortable staying here, stay here. Okay? For those who the shoulder issues aren't allowing you to get there, or it's a little just too much pressure, we're going to do a counter stretch. So your hands are Same thing about shoulder width apart. Then your feet are directly underneath your hips. And you ideally let your upper body just drop down. Okay, so you have a nice flat spine. The majority of people I see if they're tight in their hamstrings, they'll look like this. Okay, you haven't done anything wrong, you're just really tight. So what we need to do to alleviate that is bend your knees slightly. See how that changed my pelvic position? And then that allows me to get more of that flat back rather than rounded here. So you can go here, and then if you're feeling pretty good, you can straighten a little bit more. It's more about getting extension or flat back than it is about straightening your legs and getting a hamstring stretch. Okay, so I'm going to go back to our downward dog. Okay, and you can always pedal your feet out, or you can stay relatively still. Okay, so let's come on down. Now we're going to do a kneeling hip flexor stretch. So let's go ahead and take your right foot forward. Okay, your hands are going to be, you can put them on your knee, or you can put them at your hips. So a lot of people, what I see when they go into hip flexor stretch is they dump into their hips and they go as far as they can, but then you really only feel the stretch up here. What I'd like you to do is tuck under just a little bit, let your hips drop forward so you get the stretch all down the front of your thigh. So we're going to hold this for 1 minute. So you can hold it here, or if you want a little bit more, you can take your arms up, as long as you're not dumping into your back. Okay, so keep that integrity. Tailbone tucked just a hair. Left glutes are tight. So by tightening your left glutes, it's going to help release the front of the thigh. So opposing muscle group. If you want, you can add a little one-to-one to it, where you add your little hip flexor movements, where you're moving your hips forward and back. You can go side to side, or you can stay still. Now, if this bothers your kneecap for any reason, you can always place a towel under it, a blanket. Okay, and let's go ahead and switch sides. So let's take your right knee down, left foot forward. Once again, not dumping into it. Little scoop of tailbone under. Let your hips drop forward. Good. And so you can go here. Once again, if your kneecap feels kind of funny, don't just stay there. Put something under it, or if you really need to, you can go into a standing version of this. But this is a little bit more passive. Once again, in regards to the back foot, I like the top of the foot flat. This one is going to engage your hip flexors a little bit differently, but play with it, see what feels best to you. Once again, you can take your arms up, and we can go forward and back. Okay, once again, not dumping into the lower back. You should only feel this in the front, ideally in the front of this right hip. You can go side to side. Okay, so we're going to come out of that stretch. I'm going to grab one little prop, and you can use a towel for this one. You don't have to have anything fancy, but so what I've done here is I've folded it into 3, and then I'm going to just roll it. So it keeps it pretty tight like this. Okay, so now we're going to lie on your back. This is going to go between your knees. Once again, your feet are at that hip width position. Arms are out to your side, about just a little bit lower than shoulder height. And we're going to squeeze and release this towel. Okay, so once again, the knees should be lined up with the hip bones. You don't want them too far in, too far out. So we're going to do about 60 of these. And probably wondering what we're doing. Yes, you're feeling your inner thighs working, but we just did a lot of stretching, especially in your hips. And now what I'm doing is kind of making the muscles work after they've been stretched, because you always want to work your muscles just a little bit after you've stretched them so they get used to working in a lengthened position. So this one, I have to kind of remind myself not to tighten my abs. So you just let your abs relax, let your back relax, let go of that feeling to tighten everything. So my glutes aren't even working here. It's right in the inner thighs. So make sure your jaw's relaxed, your shoulders are relaxed. Okay, so we'll do about 20 more of these. I know I'm starting to feel it. I'm sure you guys are too. Start feeling them shake a little bit. But once again, not as hard as you can. Little personal reminder to myself. Okay, let's do 10 more. Last 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so now we're going to move to our standing exercises. Okay guys, now it's time for our standing exercises, but first let's go back to the beginning. I want you to think about how you're standing now. So once again, let's go back inside. Let's march in place a little bit. And then just let your body just stop, close your eyes, and see how your weight has changed in your feet. Does it feel a little bit more even? Is it more in the front of your feet still? Is it in the back? Mine personally feels a little bit more even. I was standing on the back of my heel before and then the front of my left foot, and now I'm starting to already feel better aligned. So just notice that, and then we'll see more as we go into it a little bit more. So our next exercise are called standing windmills. So your arms are going to be out to the side, but see how I put my feet directly hip width apart. Now hip width means hip bones and straight down. Okay, so arms are out, eyes are forward, and ideally, I'm hoping I'm doing this, we're going to go side to side, keeping a straight line at your arms and your head. A lot of people do this, okay, but I want you to get that bend in the side body. We're just going to do 5 on each side, ideally keeping your head back, and stop. So now let's go a little bit wider. Now when I said keeping your head back, I want to make sure you're not going like that to get there. So if you know your head's a little bit forward, just bring your shoulders back and try to keep your eyes straight forward, okay? So never forcing anything. So let's do 5 of each. And you will feel your abs engaged on this one just a little bit. Just let it do naturally what they want to do. Okay, just 1 more of each, keeping that little pinch between your shoulder blades. Okay, now we're going to go even wider, okay, where you feel comfortable. Once again, heels are flat against the ground. So now we're going to go down and go back and forth. Trying to keep your eyes straight forward. Okay, let's do 1 more of each. Okay, now we go right back to where we started. Right underneath your hip bones, okay? Feet are straight forward, arms are out to your side, and then we'll do the same thing. We're just gonna repeat this one. I don't know about you, but I feel a little bit more flexible on this round than I did on the first one. Two more of each. Okay, good. So now we're going to go into a triangle stretch. Hopefully the windmills kind of helps loosen up the sides a little bit. So with the triangle stretch, you've probably seen this in yoga or maybe in your classes at 1-to-1. So you're going to take your left foot's going to be straight forward with your heel up against a wall. Okay, arms are out to the side, or sorry, your foot is out to the side. but a little away from the wall. My foot's about 3 inches from the wall, so it's about this much. Okay, arms are gonna go back up to the side, kind of like the windmills. I want you to shift your hips over to the left. I'm gonna get my timer started. This is one that you don't want to stay longer than you have to. Okay, and then you're gonna go down and stay here. Okay, so ideally, this front leg here is straight, okay, without being completely locked out. A lot of women in particular tend to lock their knees out, they hyperextend their knees. So just soften the knee just a little bit. And I'm finding I'm a little bit too close, so I'm gonna adjust. Good, so you can keep your eyes forward, you can turn your eyes up, or you can even look down. Okay, so you find that spot that feels best to you. Now, if you guys feel like I am, I'm shaking a little bit. Good, so quads are engaged. Shoulder blades are back. And I'm hoping I'm keeping a straight line between my arms. Okay, and there's our 1 minute. Okay, so let's readjust. Right heel's gonna go against the wall. Left foot's gonna go out to the side. And get my timer started. Arms are out. Shift your hips to the right. Shift left. And then we'll come down. Good. So ideally, this top hip will stay on the wall. And I'm doing the best I can do. Good. Now really engage your quads. Once again, remembering that front leg, making sure you're not hyperextending. So just slightly bend your knee. Remember to breathe. This is a breath holding exercise. We don't want it to be though. Remember, eyes can be forward, they can be down, or they can be up. Really trying to get your shoulder back. Once again, a very active stretch. Keeping your weight distributed evenly between your feet. And there's our minute. Good. Okay, so now let's do another standing exercise. We're gonna do standing arm circles. One that's been around for a long time, but it's a good one. Let's put your arms out, okay? So I don't know if you can see my hand, but I'm tucking my fingers under so my knuckles are flat here. Okay, toes are forward, arms are back, and go ahead and start rounding forward. So I'm looking straight ahead, letting my abdominals relax, making sure I'm not up here, and making sure I'm keeping my elbows straight, not elbows bent. So the movement is coming between the shoulder blades. Let's do about 10 more. And now let's turn your palms up, thumbs go back, and go backwards now. So same thing, making sure the movement is coming from your shoulders. So you'll probably feel your upper back working a little bit. I actually even feel a stretch in my forearms here. Good, just let your abdominals relax. You don't hear that very often, so take advantage of it. Let's do 10 more. And go ahead and stop. Okay, so everybody go ahead and grab your shoes. We're gonna do 2 more exercises and we're done, but I'd like you to put your shoes on for these 2, and then we're gonna find a stairwell, okay? Okay guys, now we're gonna, hopefully you're at a stairwell, and I'm gonna use our pull-up machine as my stairwell, but I'm gonna coach you through it and how to use your own. So back to that towel that we used earlier for our adduction squeezes, what I'm gonna have you do is place that between your knees. We're gonna step up onto a step, okay, so it can be any step. You're gonna place this between your knees, so your feet are still hip width apart, okay, so your hips are stacked over your knees, over your ankles. And so when you're standing there at your stairwell, you can use the railings to help you out, okay? So you shouldn't feel like you're leaning forward. You should feel like if you let go, you would literally just fall back flat, okay? So ideally, once again, your shoulders are over your hips, over your knees, over your ankles. So I'm checking the mirror here, it looks like mine is straight. And so that's where I'm gonna stay for 3 minutes. Okay, so there's a reason I want you to have your shoes on for this one. I want you to be able just to relax your foot. If you had your shoes on with this, your feet would be gripping quite a bit. Yes, you're gonna feel a calf stretch, but I want you to feel, it's more about stacking your joints on top of each other after we've done all that alignment exercise. So now we're teaching your body how to stand tall and with the joints stacked on top of each other. So while we're here, once again, relax your abdominals. Look straight ahead. Shoulders are down. You see I'm not gripping real hard. Just letting myself try to relax into the stretch. Let my feet relax. Let my ankles relax. And if you feel like you start sliding, just go ahead and adjust as you need to and readjust. This shouldn't feel like work. So just try to breathe naturally. Staying relaxed. So even your jaw's relaxed. Check in with the shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, ankles, and your feet. Now what I'm doing with the pillow between your legs, you're not supposed to be actively squeezing it. It's just a reminder to your legs to stay where I've put them. A lot of times people's legs will go out to the side. This is just ensuring that your joints are staying on top of each other. Okay, so we've got about 40 seconds left. Good, and just relax. Remembering that feeling as if you let go of the railings, you would just fall flat back. Eyes stay forward. Relax your toes. Relax the arches of your feet. And just breathe. And there's our 3 minutes. So go ahead and step down. You can take the towel out from between your legs, and then we're gonna find a wall to do a wall sit, okay? Keep your shoes on. Hey guys, hopefully you found a wall to do the wall sit. So I'm gonna go ahead and go up against the wall, and once again, our feet are hip width apart, okay, so about a fist width. And as I go down the wall, first I'm gonna start my timer. We're gonna tuck your tailbone under so the small of your back is flat, but I'm more concerned that your femur, your upper leg bone, is parallel to the ground than I am a 90-degree angle at your knees. Okay, by keeping your feet forward just a little bit, that'll keep the pressure from going into your knees. So especially those that have knee issues, I'd walk your feet forward, even if you have to go a little further forward. Okay, so I'm gonna now look straight ahead. My palms are up, the tailbone is tucked under, and it's like I'm trying to push my lower back through the wall. And guess what? We're holding it for 2 minutes, guys. If you need to go up, you can go back down. And I know we're actually working a little bit harder now. So we've already gone 45 seconds, keeping your weight pretty evenly distributed between your feet. You just don't want all the weight shoving into the toes of your shoes. Making sure you're not holding your breath. Okay, check your pelvic position. Back is flat. We've already passed a minute. So just relax your shoulders. Don't worry about retracting them. It's more about pressing the small of your back into the wall. Good, looking straight ahead. Once again, we don't want to force your head back unless it naturally goes back. Okay, we've got 30 seconds left. If you're feeling really good, lift your toes up. You'll get a little bit more here, but we're still getting the same benefits. So you're thinking of this as a leg exercise, but I'm thinking of it as actually a back exercise. We're releasing all of the muscles along your spine. We got 13 seconds left. I feel myself turning red. That means we're working. Last 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, come on up. Okay, shake it out a little bit. I know your legs are tired. So let's kick your shoes off. Let's see, this is our last evaluation. We're gonna see how you feel. So just kind of shake it out. I know your legs are tired. Close your eyes and then just march in place. Okay, and then just let your feet just relax. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel pretty darn good. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope to hear from you guys soon. Thanks.